love that we did this.
Oh, lady with the cigarette, are you the one I came to see? Your lips are red and bone in this weather so cold. You're dressed only in your fat and heat. So I tap on your shoulder, see a woman much older than I thought that I would ever find.
You guys are something else.
That doesn't change the fact that there's one less Celsius in the fridge.
Making me mad.
That sounds like
You making me mad. Getting mad. I think I am live. Oh well. Everyone probably just heard me talk shit to you guys.
Well,
Now they know what the abuse you guys go through.
they don't know that you are the inferior one right now, but now they do.
Circa, what's it like to be number 3 now?
I have no idea. You tell me, dude.
Baby.
I love that we did this.
What's up, gang? I guess we're live now. You just heard me lambasting my homies, Drex Carter and Kenny Kaminsky. I like to tell them to STFU every once in a while because they're loud. But I'm super excited for this because we do a weekly live called Indies Live for all of our Indie Pro members, and no one's ever there. And so I figured I'd do one that's public just to, for anyone who's on our mailing list who hasn't made it to our Indie Pro membership area and would like to just kind of get a feel for the live Q&As that are available in there. That's what this is for. Now, that is to say that you should be an Indie Pro if you're not. But you can get live help pretty much every single week if you are an Indie Pro member. What's up, everybody? We have 16 viewers right now, 19. Good to see you guys. So I'm kind of set up here to answer your questions, kind of provide some help. That's what I'm here to do. I'm going to be able to pop into screen share if I need to. I almost had my camera set up. I was working on having like my like a full camera setup. Right now I'm using my webcam. This is still a great webcam. If any of you guys are interested in live streaming, this Logitech C930E, I've recommended it like a million times, and it's great. But I almost had my GH5 ready to I'm reading some of the comments. They're hilarious. I almost have my GH5 ready to stream. I'm still figuring that out. One of my favorite channels, Gerald Undone, just literally 5 minutes ago released a video about how to live stream with the GH5. And I was like, why didn't you do this yesterday? But it's cool. We got relatively good quality here. I've messed with the lighting a little bit to try to get it looking nice. And I hope you guys can hear me all good. If you need me to turn up the audio, just let me know in the chat. I can see you guys in the chat, so we're all good to go there. So let's get into some questions, gang. I'm very excited for this. And also give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Leroy, Indie Pro is part of Indie Founder. I'm going to go from the top down, guys. So if you ask your question at the top, don't worry. I just saw that Leroy asked, how will Indie Pro and Indie Founder overlap? Indie Founders will get Indie Pro automatically. But in addition to having Indie Pro, you'll have Corinne there to walk you through and assign you homework pretty much every week. So there's going to be assignments. There's going to be hands-on help. There's going to be a more private, smaller group. So that's what's available with Indie Founder. It's Corinne's championing it. She knows a lot of the issues that we had with the first founder round. We beta tested it last year. Had some great experiences, but we also experienced some trouble. We definitely needed to refactor it. So it's going to be launching, and Indie Pro will come with it. So it's helping guide you through Indie Pro. The training's involved. So let's get to the questions. Robert Dale says, thank you, Circa, for doing this and for FSC in general. Dude, thank you for watching, FSC. We really appreciate it. It's a dream of mine, and to be doing it just feels so good. So thank you for making it real. Thank you very much. He says, I know you're a busy dude. I have 3 questions. This is actually a 3-part question. Slipping it in there. I'd like to know your current thoughts on ads, content delivery, and commerce all happening within a given social media platform instead of taking people to a URL, i.e. the death of web pages. Well, that's kind of a loaded question because there's so much to talk about with that. But ultimately, we've kind of known for a while, like future technologists have known for a while, that the danger of losing net neutrality was that probably social media platforms, but earlier than that, it was like message boards they were worried about. But everyone's been worried that these are going to overtake websites. And the problem with that is custodial access. There's a third party that you have to please in order to serve your web pages to people. And that's why net neutrality is such a huge debate and has been for the beginning, since the beginning of the internet. And so when we talk about the death of web pages, you can't help but conjure net neutrality, which is essentially, right now, or up until very recently with President Trump and Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, he ruined net neutrality pretty much in the States. But ultimately, net neutrality, for anyone who doesn't know, just basically says that no website gets priority access for its users above other websites. So if I strike up like a crappy website, I should, barring bandwidth and other things, I should be able to serve it to just as many users as Google serves. I should have besides budget and bandwidth, which I might not have the money to pay for the bandwidth that Google has, but beyond that, I should be able to serve it to just anybody. That's net neutrality. No website takes precedent over another website. Ajit Pai, which is Trump's FCC chair, ruined it, and now websites can have priority over other websites, what is called internet fast lanes, right? So through internet fast lanes, you might end up getting Netflix or Facebook or Google faster than you get bigcirc.com, right? So that's a problem. And it's exacerbated by the fact that e-commerce, like you said, is now switching over to Facebook. And for marketers, it's kind of like, as a marketer, but also as a net geek, it's super conflicting because I love that I can serve up a store experience. I can market a product all with the power of Facebook's infrastructure, right? If people go to my website to get that experience, they're going to experience more lag times. They're going to experience more inconsistencies between browsers and looks and feels and all that. And Facebook is just laser optimized, right? So if I can offer a product in Facebook, like a band t-shirt or a CD or, even a digital, a digital experience, that's great because Facebook is fast AF, right? It's going to be amazing to offer it there. And I think that's really where it's going. If you listen to guys like Ezra Firestone, who's one of my favorite e-com marketers, he talks a lot about how it's all, he's making more money serving instant experiences on Facebook than serving landing pages. So if you're a musician out there or any type of creator and you want to monetize your audience, you're going to have to sell things on the web. Now, you could sell things on your website, which loads at the speed at which you can afford. Or you can sell it on Facebook and it'll load like that and you'll never have problems with it. Furthermore, Facebook's implementing native shipping options, which means if you sell with Facebook, you can have them do the shipping pretty automatically. It's like fulfillment by Amazon, but fulfillment by Facebook. Pretty crazy. And it's a brave world we're heading into. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to build your house on someone else's territory. It's super dangerous, but at the same time, it's exciting. It's going to mean better e-commerce. It's going to mean more sales. It's going to mean better revenue and profit for anyone selling, any type of merchandise online or even information online, right? So it's hard to say, man. I'm super conflicted about it. I think it's net a good thing. I really think Facebook has all of our best interests at heart just because the way they structure their company is set up to be like that, right? They want to please users, otherwise users will leave. They want to please advertisers, otherwise advertisers will leave. They have all the incentives in place to do really good things. There's no incentive for them to fuck any of us over. right? So it's kind of hard to say that like Facebook's some big demon because like their incentive model is so clear. Please users, please advertisers. So that's my thoughts on it. I hope that was coherent to a degree. How important is click tracking and heat maps like Hotjar? Not at all, Robert. Click maps are like, they were a good idea, and it makes sense on paper why you might want to see how a user clicks around your website. But we all know that it's the F shape. When a user ends up on your website, they're scanning the top bar, scanning like a little bit of the first text. Lately, it's been more of a Z shape as more things are landing page, above the fold designs. They're going to scan the menu and then strike back down across the middle of the page and then scan the bottom of the fold before they start scrolling. And it's pretty typical. And it's like every time I've used heat mapping and click mapping and click tracking and even eye tracking, it's like cool data to look at. And it's creepy to look at people's browsing sessions. Like you're watching people, how they browse. You can watch recordings of their screen, but it's just creepy. It's not helpful. Like, what inference am I going to draw that's going to make me make a different decision in my marketing? Like, if you're a musician running a website, you definitely don't need click tracking, but I would argue that even marketers don't really need it. Like, the only inference I can think of is like, oh, people end up clicking here a lot, even though it's not a button. Let's put a button there. That's about it. Or people stop here. I'm going to put the add to cart button there. That's great. But ultimately, like, there's not much you can do with the info. If you're operating e-com for a very large company that gets a very large amount of traffic, then yeah, I can understand why you might click track. There's been lots of talk about cost discrepancy between genders for ad targeting. What do you think the best strategy is currently? For me, don't worry about it, because if it were a problem, it'd be a problem, right? That's kind of my answer for a lot of things indies ask, like, what about this? And it's like, hey man, if it were a problem, we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? There's none of this would exist if it were a problem. Chances are it's not. But if you want more females in your audience, run ads to females specifically, because you're not going to automatically get them if you're running low budgets. So if you don't have much of a female fan base and you want it to be female, then you can run female specific campaigns. But just because of the, females are higher CPM, the pink tax, which actually doesn't exist, or it's misconceived by a lot of people, but it does exist. It's just not for the reasons they think, not because we're trying to screw over women. But there's a pink tax on female CPMs, and you can target females if you want more females in your audience. But if it were a problem, it would be a problem. So I don't think it's that big a deal. Adam West, thank you very much, Robert, by the way. Adam West asks, now that music downloads in exchange for email addresses aren't as enticing, what can we offer to gather email addresses? I don't have workbooks or sheet music at this point. Any ideas are appreciated. Adam, literally anything. We use online experiences. Some people still do good with music downloads. Some people do. It's not typical, and less as time goes on, but some people do. A free bribe can be, I'll send you a personal letter. I'll write a song about you. You're a creative, right? So knowing that your challenge, like when you learn to write songs, it was knowing that your challenge is to fit something good sounding into this mathematical structure. So you know your boundaries and you use your creativity to fill in that gap. Well, you know your boundaries with this, right? You need to make an offer to someone that you can fulfill at scale. So you can do it for hundreds of people almost as easily as you could do it for 10 people. And if it's scalable, you've got yourself a bribe, man. So anything could fit in there. I've seen people do, I'll send you buttons, just pay the shipping, which is a good lead magnet. Free push shipping is a great way to do lead magnets. Instead, you're actually getting customer data. That's great, but there's tons of free offers. My way of thinking about it is I want to put someone through an experience, because then I have a platform on which to develop a relationship for a certain period of time. I think about the bribe in the context of what happens after it. Am I going to deliver it and then any conversation thereafter is weird? Because if so, that's not a very good bribe to me. But if it's something where I'm going to deliver it over a series of days, that's way better. I can't tell you what's going to work for you, but I can tell you that it fits into that shaped hole, right? And if you can find something that you can deliver for free at scale across multiple days preferably through email or messenger, or something downloadable, or something that you can deliver without much work on your end. That's great. You build it once, it scales. You never have to build it again. That's the best option. But I can't really, I mean, we're probably going to put out a bribes like ideas sheet, but this is one of those things that's kind of new every time. Like the best ideas are the ones I've never heard of yet, usually. So, you know, it's hard for me to sit here and recommend a list of bribes, free downloads, multi-day experience, sending someone a phone screen or a phone ringtone. Right now for Dukes, we're about to start testing out sending his email list a new ringtone and phone background, because he does film photography, every week. If that's a good lead magnet, we'll keep doing it, but we don't know. We're just guessing. But you know, you can kind of see how Dukes and I leveraged our creativity to come up with that bribe, because it fits in the whole quite nicely. It gives us a reason to talk to them every week, and that's why. Chris Alexander, how do I gain traction? The followers I get are flaky. I fluctuate an awful lot, and nothing seems to stick. I feel like my constant Instagram updates are annoying people, but it's relevant. If you are posting on Instagram regularly and it's not growing, you need to change. And this is a big part of self-development, is that if you're doing something and you have a history to it that you can examine, and there's not a trend of growth by examining that history, change it. Do something different. That's not working. Time to cut it, right? So if we've got a marketing campaign running and it's not getting us a desirable end result, cut it. Do something else. Go back to the drawing board. So you might want to change the the story being told across your Instagram updates. You might want to change the production value. You might want to change the subject matter. That can be helpful. But again, if you're not bringing in new listeners who dig your music all the time, if, you know, presuming you're a musician or any kind of creative, right? If you're not bringing in new fans who dig what you create all the time, then there's no, you know, like, you're not going to gain a whole lot by posting on Instagram, because Instagram, like all organic forms of growth, unless you go viral, are very wishy-washy. So it's hard to say like, oh, just keep posting on Instagram. Like, that's not going to help you if you don't have a mechanism to bring new people in. Furthermore, if you don't have a mechanism to get those people into a constant communication platform like email or messenger, then it's going to be very difficult for you. So what I recommend is that you learn how to generate your own exposure. And what we do for that is we run Facebook and Instagram ads. Even if you only have $150 to spend a month, or $100 or $50 a month, you can still put yourself on a budget. Even $1 a day traffic can start bringing in a stream of new listeners. You can augment the campaign you're running at the front end to make it better at bringing in those new listeners per dollar. So you're optimizing the per dollar result of a front end ad campaign. If it works and you can tweak it over time and get it to really work, then you've got a new influx of listeners all the time, and they'll be interested in your Instagram updates, pending that you're able to tweak those as well to get them to where people are really responding. Over time, our Instagram has become our highest like organic engagement platform, right? When I post to Instagram something about our latest YouTube video, it gets a lot of likes. Our stories get viewed very frequently. We only have 3,000 followers. So our engagement's really high on Instagram, and I think it's because we've found something that works for us. Posting these trailers of these videos, adding captions, and making them super relevant to the audience that we're serving them to. So you need a way to bring in new listeners, and you need to augment what you're doing until you find something that sticks. Because if what you're doing right now doesn't work, cut it. Cut it. Don't wait 4 months. Don't wait a year. Cut it and try something different. There's a whole world of opportunity out there for you to try out. Thank you for your question, Chris. Smokey asks, how do you go about finding established artists and contact them to work with and or send beats to? That's very difficult. If you've got studios are a great place to network. If you're working, like I used to manage a recording studio. Some of the most famous people I've ever met were through just being there. And you can meet a lot of people at studio networking events. You can meet a lot of other artists at those studios. Pick a reputable studio. Try to make yourself a face there, and you'll meet a lot of people. And then you'll start seeing those opportunities. But it's very hard to just cold contact these people. But ultimately, if I want to talk to anyone that I don't know, My main goal is figuring out what they want and then figuring out how I can provide it. That's it. That is it. And I didn't read this in a book. It's just what everyone recommends, right? Find out what they want and figure out how to provide it to them. Give them value. That phrase I just said makes me want to punch myself in the face because everybody's saying it. I just want to add value, bro. I just want to give you value, dude. Like, okay, guy, thank you. I know you're in the ClickFunnels Facebook group. Thanks a bunch. But like, you got to give value. You got to figure out a way that you can add value to their relationship with you. So you can't reach out to someone cold and then pitch them on something. It just doesn't work. There's a low success rate. But you can figure out what they want and spring up at the right time and give it to them. You can also be active. Like, this works really well with podcasters, with YouTubers. Comment, give helpful comments, help other people that they didn't get to, help make their job easier. And they'll start to talk to you. Or do something impressive. That's my favorite way. I didn't have any connections starting Entrepreneur, right? I just sat my head into this fucking computer and I worked for 2 years and now people want to talk to me. And that helps, right? Like if you can just go and commit to doing something impressive, people will start to, perk their head up and be like, what are you doing over there? And then you're in a conversation. I hope that helps, Smokey. Jin Marco asks, yeah, I tried the same thing with gathering emails to no avail. How would you make sure the creation of the product you're making is truly yours and not just some work inspired by the current trend? Jin, everything that you know about is a work inspired by the current trend or a previous current trend. There's nothing new in the whole world. So it's toxic thinking to start downplaying something as not truly yours or being inspired by a trend. You use instruments, you're biting, dude. You're a biter. You're biting someone who invented that instrument or someone else who learned how to play it way better than you, and you're doing a disservice to them. You see how that line of thinking can take you down some very dangerous roads? Get your head out of the gutter, man. Everything you do is derivative of something that's come before it. Don't be afraid of that. Embrace it. Make it an advantage because that's what it is. And you can learn this lesson from hip hop. Hip hop took everything that happened before it and said, what if we remix this? What if I sample Irving Berlin and I throw on the break from Jungle Boogie on it? You know what I mean? Like that's hip hop. And what's the biggest music genre, competing with country, but one of the biggest music genres in the entire world and didn't exist 30 years ago? Hip hop. So sampling ideas and remixing them has a proven track record of massive success. Look at U2. Do you think U2 is original? Do you think Coldplay is original? Do you think Jay-Z is original? There's tons of examples where people have bit styles from the past or bit other artists almost directly. But they put a spin on it. They added their story to it. They colored it in a different way. And that mattered. Our website is digital marketers' old website. It's a very successful website, ours, because it was stolen, mostly wholesale, ripped off from another very successful website. But I put my own spin on it. I made it mine, right? I looked at what they were doing and I said, how can I make this mine? And that's what you need to be doing if you want to find success, man. You can't recreate the game from scratch. You have to commit yourself to taking someone you respect and trying to emulate them. By doing so, you'll learn how they did what they do and you'll get better. As for your lack of success with gathering emails, we have a lot of great training on doing so, but ultimately you have to find something that people want and you have to provide it for them or could want or could think is cool and then provide it for them. And you'll get emails like crazy. We have a 20,000 person email list because I found something that someone wants and I gave it to them. Nino Bless has a 4,000 person email list, which makes him a fair amount of money or has because we found something that his audience wants and we gave it to them for free and they gave us their email address in return. Some people will just give you their email address because you'll contact them and they like that idea because they're a fan of your music. But most people need a little bit of a push. Will asks, I hope that helps, Jen. Will asks, hey, thank you for doing this. I've been following you for a while and you always put out fire content. Thank you so much, Will. I really appreciate it. Will asks, I've just started to rebrand myself as an artist again. I've taken down all my existing content from DSPs, restarted my Instagram and FB pages, etc. What are the best steps I can take going forward? Okay, so depending on the kind of music you do, you ultimately want to find a way to get new listeners. Number one, turn strangers into listeners. That's the first thing you need to do. You can create automated ad campaigns on any budget that achieve that goal. Stranger to listener. A campaign can go there that just does that overnight while you sleep. And we use a campaign called the Fan Finder, but there's the whole world of advertising campaigns. There's tons of stuff you can do. Some people use blog PR. Some people use Spotify playlist campaigns. Those have a time. They die over time, right? So you're not going to continue to generate new listeners with something like that, which is why we like ad campaigns, because we can turn them on and off, and nobody knows if they're old or not. So it doesn't matter how old they are. They work, and they work, and they work, and that's why we love them. But you need a mechanism to turn strangers into listeners. Ultimately, don't do anything spammy or black hat at this point. You have a fresh Facebook, a fresh Instagram. You just restarted everything. Keep the bots away from it. So don't do any Facebook accelerator programs where you get 10,000 likes in a nanosecond. Don't do that. But so you have clean data. You want to start to turn strangers into listeners and learn a lot about the types of people who actually end up taking that step. So once you know who they are, you can make them offers by following up with them with what we call retargeting. Anyone you advertise to, if they listen to your song, you know it. And you can talk to them, exclude everyone else, and say, hey, you, thank you. Thank you for listening. I want to offer you something. That free offer, all they have to do is sign up for it. Now you're building an email list, right? So once you figure out what they want, you're offering it to them, you're building an email list, and then you have to figure out how to nurture those subscribers. Could be an email list, could be a text list, could be a messenger list. There's all different communication mediums, but ultimately a free offer gets them from listener to fan. Now they're one-to-one communicating with you. One-to-one is super important. Then you need preferably automated ways of nurturing those new subscribers over time. And if you have that in place, then you can start making offers. And making offers is how you make money as a musician. I know it might not seem like that because all the big musicians fail to make offers ever, but if you make offers consistently, you'll make more money and revenue as a musician, and it will fund everything you're doing at that top level. But first, you need a way to turn strangers into listeners. I hope that made sense. I hope it was helpful, Will. Matthew Ramming asks, Circa, can you cover some of the resources that a member could find on the Indiepreneur website that talk about the action items of running education and permission campaigns? Matthew, there is a ground report, which is in the Indie Pro member area by Jack, that talks about permission bribes that we've run in our agency for different artists. And all of them are successful. And there's some great info in that ground report. Now, if you're not an Indie Pro member, go to our blog, go to our podcast, and look for, you can actually search for, if you search Indiepreneur, so go to Google, site, Indiepreneur.io/podcast. And then so search that, site, Indiepreneur.io/podcast, and then space, and search education and permission. And you'll find all of the content we have on this. And go to town, man. I hope that helps. Amanda asks, I asked this on your live streaming YouTube video. I'm wondering if you think it's worth it to simulcast your live stream to different social media platforms or just focus on one. If you've got an audience on both, do that. Or if you've got a large email audience, I would dual stream. With Nino, for his Audio Trip 2 album launch, Illuminati Reject 2 album launch. For that, we did dual streaming to YouTube and Facebook. And we made about equal amounts of revenue with the offers we were making from each channel. And that's because he had a large email list to send people to, and people just pick their platform of preference. But ultimately, if you're looking for growth through your live streaming, you want to choose the platform that your fans are on. So if you got them on Facebook, keep it on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram lives are doing great for engagement right now. Facebook lives are kind of down. YouTube lives apparently are killing it because we have 66 viewers right now. But yeah, that's a good question. And unless you've got a large email list and you want to give them like the preference of one over the other, depending on what they like, I would just pick the platform that you earned them on. That's my opinion on it. Amanda, thank you for your question. Alessandra asks, hey, Circa, as an indie artist, what should I focus on every day? I feel overwhelmed a lot and sometimes get nothing done because of it. Okay, this is a huge problem that I actually had like a 3-hour conversation with my wife about yesterday because she's getting so much like stress at work because there's so much to do and not enough time to do it. And this is an interesting topic, but ultimately, what you need to control is not your output, right? Your output will take care of itself if you can control your happiness and your sanity. So it doesn't matter if you've got a million things to do because you only have so many hours in each day. So you need to stop considering that as a metric for whether or not you should feel okay. It's not. You'll always have a million more things to do than you could possibly do. Even if you have a gigantic team. Right now, we have a team of 6 contractors and employees right now in Entrepreneur. That's so much help that I have. And there's still more that I need to do than I can. You got to let go of it. You got to just let it go. You're not going to get it done. Okay, Alessandra, you're not going to finish. That's okay. What you need to do is figure out how you can be happy being productive, right? So what things are contributing to your angst and your stress, cut them out, okay? And then figure out how you can, like, let's say you got 4 hours a day. How can you make those 4 hours as productive as possible? Meaning, how can you be as happy as possible doing those 4 hours? That's super important because you're literally telling me that you don't get anything done because of how much you have to do, right? That's bad. That's not good. So ultimately, and Drex is dealing with this right now. My homie Drex is in the office right now, and he's got a lot to get done. And he went from doing almost nothing to having like 3 businesses, right? And he's having trouble with the same thing. But ultimately, like, you got to find your sanity, right? You need to make your work time a happy time, a time where you're just jamming. And if you can do that, you'll get enough done. You won't get all of it done. You'll never get all of it done, but you'll get enough done to be happy with your rate of progress. You're always going to feel a little bit underwater because people who do great things are constantly underwater, constantly. They're constantly a little bit behind, constantly a little overwhelmed. But if you can find a pocket of happiness, that's what really matters. So I don't let it be a point of unhappiness that I'm not going to get done what I need to get done today. Already knew it when I came in. Already knew it. I swallowed that the second I woke up this morning, right? So figure out how you can put that behind you. Stop thinking of that as like a barometer for your success. It's not. It should be a given. You're not going to get it done.
Sorry to hijack your thing. The best advice I ever got was from Circa. One day I was like saying all this excuses about like how I don't have time to do things, and he said, how much time do you really have? And then that hit. So that's another thing, is that people often have more time than they are willing to admit to themselves. There's a recent study that came out that said the more time people say they work, the less time they actually work. So they found people who are saying, I work 80 hours a week. Actually, 52. I work 72 hours a week. Actually, more like 45, right? But as that number they were reporting grew, the disparity between the reported number and the actual number grew. So oftentimes if you do a self-audit, same with budgeting, you'll find that there's more money or more time than you actually thought. Hey, did you do anything today that was like dumb? You know, did you read about Cardi B? That's time that you could use. So that's true. The economy of time thing is huge. But ultimately, figure out what's most important, what's salient, and get that done first. Not today, but first, right? Because I forgive you and I give you permission to not get everything you have to get done. But I don't give you permission to not work your ass off trying during the time that you do have. And that's my answer. I hope that's helpful. Leroy, when does Indie Founder launch and did I get in? Leroy, we should be sending out a notification about that very soon. Very soon. Josh Moose, what's up, man? Spatial Soul, how's it going, man? Dinah K, hey Circa, like Alessandra, I feel overwhelmed. I'm releasing my first singles and album this summer and feel like I have so much to learn. In a week, where should I focus when it comes to release? In a week. You're releasing in a week.
I'm not sure what you're saying here, but ultimately you do have a lot to learn, but so do I. And I know a lot about marketing, but every time I go in to learn a little bit more about marketing, I also realize how much I don't know. Facebook changes so much that every time I go into it, there's a new feature that I know nothing about and I don't know how to leverage. And it scares me, sure, but you got to conquer that. You have to accept the fact that you're never going to know enough. You're never going to learn everything. There's never going to be a point where you're like, oh, I got the strategy. I got the formula. There is no formula, right? You learn as much as you can and you leverage as much of that as you possibly can. But ultimately you're limited by your capability. And that's not to say that it's not enough. It probably is. Okay. Success does not equal learning and applying everything. It doesn't. Success means learning and applying everything you can muster, right? Tons of people are wildly successful with just that. Not everything you can. So do what you can, you know? When it comes to releasing your album, you should focus on pre-release strategies and post-release strategies, but ultimately you could use our ultimate album launch training to launch the album. I don't really know where you're at in your career. If you have fans, you're going to want to leverage them to spread the album. This is where referral and advocacy strategies come in, but if you could tell me a little bit in the chat about where you're at, I could probably help you more specifically. But ultimate album launch is what I typically recommend or would do if I have an album. Pop Buchanan asks, I just started a sober podcast and I am incorporating my music. What's the best way to merge the two? My sobriety is my platform and I want to combine it with my music and bring it all full circle. If your music's about sobriety or if it's supposed to be helpful for people who are trying to, stay sober, that's huge, man. There's a huge community there to tap into. Now, a lot of it is buried in anonymity with, Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, but that doesn't mean that there aren't tons of online communities you can tap into and partner with. There's tons of sober Facebook groups. There's tons of straight edge forums and websites and all that. So I would make a list, what we call a kill list of all of them, write them down in a spreadsheet and reach out to all of them at least once, preferably twice, preferably 3 times. Reach out to all of them, have a plan to reach out to them, and have a plan for what you want to do with them. That can be super helpful. There's tons of communities to tap into here. It can be preachy to include sobriety in your music, right? But that's a fine line you're going to have to walk yourself. I can't help you there. But the best way to merge the two is to build your fan base around that concept, right? Share stories, share the struggle, and share that with your audience as well. Yeah, and I mean, if you want to grow fast, leverage existing communities around sobriety. There's tons of them. Spatial Soul, wait, I'm in the membership. Haha, what am I doing here? Hey, man. Well, you're one of the few people who ever does make it to Indies Live, so thank you for stopping by here as well. Okay. Where am I? Bert Byler. Hey, GOAT. Hey, you're the GOAT, Bert. I'm getting ready for an album launch in the fall. How do you feel about Basic Printer's idea of promoting a local show first, then UAL? I like it because it's more. It's not that it's like he solved ancient math problems that didn't exist before. He just did more, right? And I don't say that to downplay Jesse because Jesse's a genius. Nobody makes ads like Jesse. Nobody. And that's why we hired him as of last week. Shout outs Jesse, Basic Printer. But he's amazing. But he just did more. And anyone can do more and not necessarily have to do the local show first. You can just do more than just the album launch. But I like it. I think it's a great idea. And I do recommend it. TJ, Illumination Project. What's up, man? Roger McLean. Glad to see a live broadcast. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Roger. I really appreciate it. FSC Rocks Entrepreneur for thank you, Kralik. I really appreciate it. I'm glad people dig FSC. That's a surprise to me. I kind of feel like I'm scarce with emails. I don't want to email out Full Stack Creative videos if they're not specifically about music marketing or entrepreneurship or something, just because I don't want to bug anyone who's here for just music marketing. So it's good to hear that there's people out there digging it. Thank you so much, man. Shape of the Sun. Nate Linek. What's up, buddy? Josh Moose. Haha, that sucks, dude. Looks and sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. I am also curious about Alessandra's question as well. Jake, let me know if that was helpful. Spatial Soul says, while I have you here, I'd love to know how much do you think I should spend on my first camera buy? Ooh! I'm still shooting from my webcam, but would love to up my game as I'm releasing video regularly. Tell me what your budget is, man. I think you should buy a camera that you can be happy with for a while. If you're prone to gear acquisition syndrome, where you get a new thing and you're like, oh, it's here now, I need something else, then you're gonna have to overcome that. And an expensive camera is like, the more expensive camera is not gonna satiate that. But if you just want something that can last you for years into the future, I would save up your money and buy the A7S III when it comes out by Sony. Or buy a GH5 now, Panasonic GH5, which is what I use. It's not going to be as long lasting into the future as the Sony A7S III whenever it comes out. The A7S III, which is not out, not the A7 III. That's going to be an amazing video camera. Might even be 8K, and you won't have to replace it for a long time to come. But you also won't have to replace a GH5 for a long time to come, and it's my favorite camera. So my recommendation is always the GH5, but if you want to future-proof a little bit, wait for that Sony A7S III. Gives you a nice little chunk of time to save up money as well. Super excited you're getting a camera, dude. If you ever need advice on anything about videography, I'm here to help. I know all the right channels to follow. I love videography. Super excited to hear that. Kaylee, hi, Circa. Thanks for everything y'all do for us. Kaylee, it's my pleasure. Morris has retracted 5 messages. Morris, are you talking shit? Because I'm going to get super furious right now if that's the case. Kaylee said, what is a good strategy for streaming platforms like Spotify? I thought it was growing income and exposure with as many streams as possible, getting on playlists, but recent group discussion says no. Well, this guy's the Spotify champion. He doesn't want to be known as that, but he really is. This kid has spreadsheets and data readouts and all this shit, and he's just like hacking the Spotify algorithm every day over there. He said, I can't prove that. So I've learned a lot about Spotify over the last few months from tests that we've run in the agency, from this guy right here, and also from just studying it a lot. And also from our Spotify rep, Corinne, my business partner, co-owner, and co-founder of Entrepreneur, has a Spotify rep she talks to and has lunch with, which is tight. I don't have that. But apparently, what really matters on the Spotify platform for algorithmic success, to get more streams from your existing streams, is saves. The more saves you have to streams, the more likely you are to get in editorial and algorithmic playlists. But it's not a definite. Once you have that down, you're sure that you can rack up a lot of saves. Then playlist campaigns matter because it can blow the distribution on that wide open. So you couple a high save ratio with a high stream count, and now you're off and running, and you can have quote unquote viral success just through playlisting. There's many problems with that. Number one, Spotify is a data black hole. If I send someone to Spotify, I can't get them out with more data than they had when they came in. Meaning, like, I might know someone is a repeat customer of mine. They've spent this amount of money. They've opened these emails. I know all that. I'm going to send them to Spotify in an email. When they come back, if they clicked, I don't know what they did after. And I can't. Further, if I get new fans on Spotify, I can't communicate with them, which sucks. But if you go huge on Spotify, they'll find you. Right? Like if you go like Lil Nas X viral, they'll find you, obviously. The opportunities will be plentiful, but that's very unlikely to happen. It's like it ever was, right? With radio promotion. Further, Spotify is owned by major record labels. Spotify's buying playlists. Major record labels are buying playlists. Spotify, to this day, in its terms and conditions, will penalize you heavily if it finds you selling playlists or playlist promotion. Kind of fucked up, right? That Spotify is going to like chastise you for doing it, but they're doing it. Major labels are doing it. Everyone's doing it, but they just might snipe you out and say, nah, you can't play. Sounds like the old days of radio to me. Sounds like payola. Sounds like Congress needs to update the laws about this stuff. because it's alarming, right? They're hacking the attention of the public. They're making us all think something's popular just because they wanted us to, which is very bad. I don't like that element of Spotify. That said, you can use it to your advantage. It is a system. You can game the system. So my recommendation for a Spotify strategy is if you want huge results on Spotify, do a pre-save campaign, preferably a contest. My idea for this right now is take a bunch of artists that you think are fans of that artist would like your stuff, and get merch and music from those artists. Bundle it with your merch and music and give it away as a contest prize. How do you enter the contest? Pre-save your album. Not only are you verified that these people are going to dig your music because of the prize package, and in any contest, the prize is the targeting. Remember that. Prize is the targeting. So if you can give away a prize package that your ideal fans are going to like, they may have never heard of you and sign up for the contest just because they want that prize package. If they win that prize package, they're going to get your music. They have to listen to your music anyways to get the prize package. To me, it hits all the triggers, but I haven't had a chance to test it yet. I thought of it like 3 months ago, and I still haven't had a chance to test it. Just been so busy. But that's my recommendation, is run a contest, pre-save contest. Then, on the day of release or in pre-save, funnel all of your existing fan base to it and incentivize them to save it. That's going to help you with algorithmic performance. Then, once it's doing okay, once the saves are pretty on par with the amount of streams, like a save for every 2 streams is good territory. Run a playlist campaign. This kid knows people who do playlist campaigns. I got you, bro. And we're going to be offering a playlist pusher that we trust in the indie deal section very, very soon to be able to save 20% on a playlist campaign. But like I said, it's not going to matter if you don't have your streams in check, and your saves in check. So make sure that you rack up saves early on, because that's going to help you in the long tail.
And if you're running a contest, don't do a pre-saves campaign, do a day of saves campaign.
Ooh, he's saying that if you're going to run a contest, don't do a pre-saves campaign, do a day of saves campaign, because they're more valuable than pre-saves.
Well, if you're running a pre-saves campaign, it makes you, as a user, right? If you get sent a link to pre-save a song, you have to log into your Spotify every time. You have to type in your username or email and password.
Okay.
And people are lazy or don't remember it.
Okay, so he's telling me that
If you send them a link to save the song, they can click the link and just click save right away, and it saves it every one time.
So I'm being told by sources that
pre-saves don't always translate.
Pre-saves don't always translate, and if you run a pre-save campaign, people have to log into Spotify. No matter if they're already logged in, they have to re-log in. Further, once they pre-save it, they can't listen to it, so they have no way of knowing, like, is this good? And if you're getting new fans that way, like, that kind of sucks. But if you run a day of saves campaign, then they don't have to log back in. They can hear it immediately, so you got all the benefits.
For pre-save, just push to your core audience, your core fan base, your friends.
He's saying use pre-saves on your existing fan base and run a saves campaign as a contest. I dig it. So those are our answers, Kaylee. I hope that helps. Hilario asks, do you recommend the $37 a month versus paying for each module? I do, because we put out new modules every 1 to 2 months, new trainings. And if you buy each module, it's going to be significantly, you'd have to be an Indie Pro member for, I think, like a full year to have paid for all the modules. And in that year, 6 to 12 more will come out. Further, with Indie Pro, you have access to indie deals, like deals on Spotify playlisting, deals on G Suite, deals on CD Baby, mixing, mastering, production. You can get $30 an hour professional custom mixing. It's hard to beat that, and it's all for $37 a month. So even if you just get a album mixed through our Mix Concierge, who is fantastic, you'll save more money than the entire year membership costs. So I would do the $37 a month. I would do Indie Pro. That's my recommendation. But like, if you only need certain trainings, also not all the trainings that are in Indie Pro are available for standalone, which is another reason to join Indie Pro. But if you only need like FanFinder, then just get FanFinder and don't worry about Indie Pro. But if you feel like you could benefit from weekly live Q&As with the staff, Monthly live trainings, Indie deals. If you feel like you could benefit from all the other trainings that are in Indie Pro, go with Indie Pro. Thank you for asking. A lot of you. Chef asks, what is the biggest pain when dealing with music marketing? I'd say misconceptions. A lot of people take like a very binary approach to it. It's like nothing's wrong necessarily, and nothing's completely right. Like it's like medicine. It's very biopsychosocial. There's a lot of factors at play, and to say absolutely that one thing is this way and one thing's like something's the other way, it's very difficult. So people want absolute definite answers to their deepest held questions, and those don't exist in marketing. People will sell you that they exist, but they don't. They just don't. It's all context dependent. And the most frustrating thing is when people come to you saying this or that. Another frustrating thing is that, like, if you offer marketing help, people misconstrue you as everyone else who offers marketing help that they've ever seen. And some of those guys are fuckheads, and people tend to think that you're a fuckhead. And that bothers me at a personal level. I don't want people to think that I'm a fuckhead. I want people to like me. And so I do my best to signal that I'm not your typical marketing guy. But, you know, people think that I am without really taking a second look. So that's another big pain when it comes to music marketing. And then I would also say fuckery is a big pain when it comes to music marketing. Boosting numbers, buying views and likes, things that hurt you awfully long term. People just want to do them because that's like the whole music industry is vanity metrics. And a lot of the people high up don't know anything about marketing, anything about building revenue from an audience besides like deals and partnerships. They're very good at that. Handshakes, not so good at like rolling up the sleeves and getting shit done. They'd rather buy 100,000 likes. And that's the reason why if you go to any major label artist's Facebook profile, there's going to be more likes than there are followers, which is a first screen test for they bought a shitload of likes. Go to anyone's Facebook profile. If there's more likes than there are followers, typically they've bought a certain amount of likes. I believe it's that way. Or is it more followers than likes? Corinne knows this, but another test you can run after you screen them that way is to go into audience insights. How many monthly active users on Facebook are interested in this thing versus how many people like it on Facebook? Chances are they bought some likes. Also, when YouTube did an algorithm change and they were removing all these fake views and subscribers from YouTube channels, guess who was hit the hardest? Vivo channels, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, all these people. It's not their fault. Their manager's fault. Their manager or someone in their team thought it was a great idea to go buy a shitload of click farm likes. That's frustrating because we have to deal with that at the agency level. And typically when we're cracking into like a major artist data, it's a fucking mess for this exact reason. So that's my main frustrations, man. Nicholas Roberts, he was answering someone else. Thank you, Nick. Nick is a Orlando artist, amazing Orlando artist. Good to see you, Nick. Kaylee said, yeah, writing songs for someone isn't scalable. I charge $1,000 for that. I don't know what's being said here. You guys are responding to someone else, maybe? Let me know. I moved to a new city and I'm struggling with Tom Anabalon asks. I moved to a new city and I'm struggling with getting live shows without an audience. And I can't start an audience without shows. What would you recommend for a situation like this? Okay, it's a catch-22. You can't get live shows without an audience. You can't start an audience without live shows. You know how I got all of the gigs that I currently hold and have been doing for 5 years? I started in open mics in Orlando. You're never too good to go to an open mic. And chances are, whoever's there, like at an open mic, there's going to be 15 people. 12 of them are going to be god awful. And if you're one of the good ones, the other 2 good ones will be your lifelong friends. They're going to go on to do great things in your city. They're going to give you opportunities. You need to leverage that. Go to open mics if you're starting from scratch. I would still go to an open mic just to meet who the future of Orlando music's going to be, because chances are there's 3 or 4 people there who are just fire and you want to know them because they're going to help carry you up. Also from open mics, you get opportunities to gig. And that's why I clear $2,000 in gig money pretty much every month, heavier when I was doing more gigs, but make good money from it. And it's fun. And it all started from Red Lion Pub, open mic, hole in the wall, open mic. and it led to everything. So don't be afraid to do open mics. And you can start an audience without live shows. Major misconception. You can totally get an audience without live shows. You create some media that's enticing. You advertise it on Facebook and Instagram. You'll have an audience. Furthermore, unlike an audience you might get at a live show, you can follow up with the audience you generate on Facebook and Instagram anytime you want. All you have to do is pay the ad cost, and it's not very high to reach an individual person. So it's actually better to build an audience without live shows, and you should start doing that. That's what I recommend. Tandem Circuit asks, is paying for an album promo campaign most effective when you already have an established fan base, or can a promo campaign also effectively help build a fan base? Thanks heaps for doing this, Circa. No problem, Tandem Circuit. Feel weird calling you that, but it's more effective when you have an established fan base because it's a revenue opportunity. Typically, at releasing an album, it's supposed to be a revenue generating event, not for a lot of musicians in Orlando, but it should be, right? And the reason it's not is because offers usually aren't being made. Usually it's like the album's out now, Spotify, iTunes link, Apple Music link, Amazon link. Go get it. That's the album release. And it's not an offer. It's an offense being done on everyone in that person's friends list, but that's not an offer. So I wouldn't pay for an album promo campaign. Like, album promo campaign doesn't sound like it holds a lot of promise. I would not just pay for that. Like, someone was like, oh, I'll do your album promo. Okay, where? What are you going to leverage to do it? What's your methodology? Like, I need to know all that. But on top of that, a good album campaign, an album release campaign can build tons of fans. Dukes, if you go to facebook.com/itsdukesmusic, right? We haven't posted on there in a long time, but everyone who paid attention to the posts on there that are massive, we still have the data. We can still retarget them. We can still communicate with them. And they've driven his Spotify numbers up and up and up and up. And he had almost no fan base to speak of when we went into releasing that album. And so a good album release campaign can get you a fan base. 1.2 million listeners for us. And he made all of the money he spent on advertising and printing merch and all that stuff back, plus more, plus he got 4 sync deals. So a well-crafted album campaign can not only get you revenue opportunities, but audience opportunities too. Absolutely. But don't just pay someone for album promo because it's probably bullshit. Unless they're awesome. I don't know. I don't know much about your situation. Big Grizz asks, I started a Shopify store for merch, but I ended up designing a whole line of streetwear. I would like to open this new clothing store and promote it as such. Continue below. I have the same pixel on my Shopify store as on my WordPress site for my music group, which includes fan finder, journey, and opt-in pages. Okay, album launch. Should I consider different pixels on each of the sites since FB ads for my store will target different audiences? Yes, you absolutely should. You should also use a different ad account because your ad account learns and you don't want your ad account to get confused about who you're going after. I would use different page, different ad account, different pixel. Great question, Grizz. Very specific. Kaylee, speaking to Nick Roberts. I'm gonna skip that. Should we use FB and IG ads to promote for Spotify and Apple? I don't recommend it for anyone in our agency. None of our account managers do it for agency clients, just because it's very, it's a complicated answer why it's not advantageous. It's on the cusp of being a good idea, but it's just not. It takes a long time to build up financial results that way. So if you've got budget to burn, can be a good idea. But if you don't have budget to burn, it's going to be all you're doing and it's not going to make any money for a long time. And that's bad. Further, there's a way to do it right now that involves a bunch of bots. Okay. Spotify's not good at removing bots. So it has tons of bots on the platform. And these click farm bots that either real people who are paid to pretend like they're human. And then when someone pays that company, they're like, go like this page or go listen to this track. Those are technically bots, but they're human beings. They're just paid to, seem human on their profile. And then when the time is right, like the right video or or listen to the right Spotify track. Click farms and bots. Spotify is rife with them. Major social media platforms like YouTube are not. I mean, they have a lot of them, but YouTube's great at removing them. Now, Spotify is not, meaning that, and they're not good at delineating between what's bots and what's not. So if you're an advertiser on Spotify right now, you go run an audio ad worldwide, you're going to pay the same cost per 1,000 impressions for someone from the US who's an ideal buyer as someone from the Philippines who's a likely click farm worker. And the problem with that is that advertisers won't put up with that for long. So if Spotify wants to continue its business model, it has to fix that. What does that mean for people who are building up Filipino streaming bases on Spotify? Not good things. If Spotify wants to continue to be a company, they're going to have to solve their bot problem and their revenue problem. And chances are, a lot of people who have been using Spotify ads to build their monthly listener base are going to get wiped out in an instant in the process. Just like has happened time and time again with Google black hatters and Facebook black hatters and YouTube black hatters. Every time you're doing black hat practices, they're going to change the algorithm and you're going to get wiped off the face of the planet. It's just going to happen. So build your turf on quicksand if you want. I just wouldn't. And so that's why you can get profitable results by relying on the fact that Spotify is not very good at this yet, by advertising only to the Philippines or Saudi Arabia, or just not really worrying about it and advertising to them anyways. But Spotify is either going to learn what's up and give you less money for a Filipino stream than it does for a US stream. And I'm not trying to be racist here. Like, I have best friends who are Filipino. I mean that there's a lot of click farms there. So it's likely that the person who's streaming it is a click farm worker who's not actually streaming it. Therefore, they're not actually going to respond to any ads that are run on that song. Therefore, they're not actually worth anything to Spotify's advertisers. Therefore, they're worth less money. That's what happens. And if you run Facebook ads to like the Philippines to get more Spotify streams, that's going to eventually get wiped out for you. And then if you don't do that, if you just run to green light countries where there's no click farm workers and there's no bots, it's expensive. It's not going to ROI for you for years. So there's difficulties there. And we don't run Spotify promo ads. We do our traditional strategies and Spotify just grows as a result. It just grows anyways. Sympathetic benefit. Every time we run a fan finder or an album launch, Spotify shoots up. And you don't necessarily have to run ads to it. There are, like, I went over a few different ways in the beginning of this stream that you can make impact on Spotify without Facebook and IG ads. Hope that answers your question, Morris. Nicholas, okay, under the rug, message retracted. I don't like that you guys can retract messages. I want to know what you said. Smart man, you so right. Thank you, Calvin. Under the rug said, we had a great album launch thanks to you guys. I'm glad to hear that, man. Our next EP is targeted at a specific niche, rock climbing. Interesting. And I was just curious if you had any tips for leveraging a non-music niche for new fans. You want to get music fans through leveraging rock climbing content? Clear that up for me in the comments. I'm going to look for it as I go on. But it's very difficult to make that jump. I would run a separate brand. There's no advantages to using music as the lead or using rock climbing as the lead into music. It's just not very advantageous. It's an odd setup, but it doesn't mean it can't work. Just give me more specifics. Calvin, don't run the rat race trying to come up with something so original because it doesn't exist. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Glad you dig. Will Campbell, thank you so much for that. Super helpful. Glad it helped, Will. Amanda, you're welcome. Hiladio, how does an artist become a client of yours? Do you have a separate website with pricing? Hiladio, we have a request form, basically an application to work with us at the agency level. It is, we basically sell our agency's time. So we sell packets of hours, retainer hours, and we operate a sprint every week. And our sprints are just dedicated tasks condensed into a week. We're going to sprint on setting you up a Facebook campaign. We're going to sprint on organizing your data or setting up a Shopify store. And these sprints are pre-packaged. So our current rates are $1,500 a month. And generally, for most indies who are just starting out, they're not right. Like, you should not be using our agency service. If you're at the right level, you can absolutely apply. We'll have an initial conversation, like hour long, half hour to an hour long conversation, just enough to determine, is this right for you? Or is this going to be financially ruinous for you? Which, for a lot of people, that could be the case. They're just not at the right point in their career. So if you go to bit.ly/IndieX agency, that's INDIEX agency, you can apply. But just so you know, it's very exclusive. And that's just to make sure that we're not doing more harm than good. We always want to be helping our clients. And for some people, if they were to bring us on at that point in their career, it would not be helpful. It would be stretching them too thin. So let me know. We look forward to seeing your application. Alex Miner, my wife's going through the same thing. The only way I get anything done is by making lists of things I can get done in an hour or two max. If I accomplish enough of those in a day, I feel good. Alex, totally, man. We do that too. If you've taken our How to Run Your Music Business training, then you know all about the sprint methodology and Asana. And recording things in Asana in your backlog and queuing them up every Friday and setting your week every Friday will change your whole life. And if you don't, if you don't have access to Indie Pro and you haven't taken that training and you want to make that kind of change and you don't know what the hell Asana is, get a notebook, man. I don't know where mine is, but just get a Moleskine notebook and start writing down everything you want to get done in it. I filled up 5 notebooks before I went digital with it. And that was 2-3 years ago. I started writing everything down, changed my life. So I agree. Dream Katari asks, my question is, how do I apply the album launch method to being a beat maker? I sell beats to rappers. I don't want to be a rapper myself. Dream, okay, album launch funnel, what is it? It's a free offer made to the right people through targeting that takes them over multiple days in which you can communicate the value of what you're offering them for free and transition into the offer of something that costs money. A beat maker can do that, right? You could say, hey, I'm going to give you a free beat every day for 5 days. But you only get the beat royalty free if you spit over it and send it back to me by this certain time. And then you're building rapport with them the entire way through. And on the last day, you offer a bundle of beats or a library of beats that they have access to royalty free and they can rap on any of them and put it out. Something like that. It's all about offers and communication. Make a free offer, communicate with your audience, show them that what you do is valuable and can improve their situation. And then make a paid offer. And if they don't want it, that's fine. But hopefully enough of them want it to subsidize the costs of building the leads and then make you some money. So any business works that way. And you can apply that to your beat making as well. Kenny, go away. Go away, Kenny. Alex Miner, releasing beat tapes as an album project is a great promotional tool and a good way to attract new clients and opportunities. I would agree, Alex. Very true. Calvin Coolidge says Reddit. Yeah, totally. Remember my album was just released The Dawn. It's a couple weeks old. What shall I do during post-release? Apple Music featured on a new music playlist. Touring? I don't understand your question, Morris. If you could please separate it out into, I think it's several questions. So if you could separate it out, that would be helpful, but I don't understand. Release Apple Music featured on a new music. Oh, you're featured on an Apple Music playlist and you're asking if you should tour. No, unless there's a clear indicator that you should tour. If you're building a massive fan base, then yeah, tour. But if it didn't get great results, I wouldn't tour because touring is expensive and taxing on your life and very difficult to have a job while you're touring unless you're Ed Isola of the 502s. So I would not tour. No. If you were featured on a new music playlist and it got you results, figure out how you can start to communicate with the people it got results with. I don't know how to do that on a platform like Apple Music or Spotify. That's one of the main reasons we don't focus on it. But if you can communicate with those people and build a relationship with them, you can make dedicated offers to them and make more money over time. A great example of self-promotion as a producer. Yep, definitely, Alex. Good to see Alex Miner in here. Hella good. Calvin Coolidge. I'm in the studio finishing up my second CD, Rise Up Universe. Thank you for all the new stuff I'm learning and for all the info you're providing. No problem, Terrence. Glad it's helpful. I hope it's helpful. Kirby. Oh, Katie, what's up? If you're ready to start, done the buddy system, but still need to go through multiple trainings, should I start with how to run music biz, email marketing, or fan finder? If you don't have a fan base, always fan finder after buddy system. If you don't have a fan base yet, or you don't have a very sizable fan base that could generate a result, do a fan finder, because a good fan finder will change your whole shit up, man. It's literally life-changing for a lot of musicians. How to run your music business will help you get organized, will help you do more over time. Typically, it helps people better when they start to feel the overwhelm of doing a lot of this stuff. And then it's like, okay, let's get you on the right track. But if you haven't felt that overwhelm yet, maybe not the exact right training to take next. Got stuck in a ManyChat rabbit hole. Tell me about it. Every time I get into ManyChat again, I get stuck in it. Yeah, I would do fan finder. I would run a fan finder. Figure out, like, if you haven't experienced what a good fan finder can do for you yet, that's probably the first thing that you should do. Pop Buchanan, thank you. You're welcome, Pop. Illumination Project. TJ, I am struggling with reoccurring YouTube content. Right now, I'm planning the themes around vlog/lifestyle of a creative, music and gear reviews, and live or non-live music videos. Any other ideas for really tapping into your niche on YouTube? Yeah, definitely. I got to give a major shout out to Brandman Sean. Go to, just search Brandman on YouTube and go subscribe to his channel. He's the man. But about, I want to say 2 months ago, I asked this kid to go find other YouTube channels that were like what we do. And he found a bunch of them for me and subbed to them from Full Stack Creative. I learned who they were. The ones that I liked watching their content, I kept watching, started commenting. And those comments with Brandman yielded an interview he did with me about United Masters. And then I reached out to him about our contest, and he shared it with his audience. And now his audience is checking out what we do. And that's awesome. And it all came from, hey, who else could we vibe with? Who do we vibe with? And then just being active on their pages and trying to provide them value. If you can answer questions or if you can say something, provide value, that's going to be helpful. I would not do vlog or lifestyle content until you already have a large audience, because no one's going to care unless it's inspirational or motivational. But I would not vlog. Alex says exactly. Yeah. Alex Miner is a badass YouTuber, and a badass human being, and take his advice, not mine. Barry Power, what's up, Circa? What advice do you have about approaching guests for my new podcast? Getting it together after the inspiration of the Content Blitz month. Also, any thoughts on crowdfunding? Thanks. Crowdfunding works, and don't shoot too high, because we have an IndieX client who just, by all stripes, would have just had a very successful crowdfunding campaign, except it's not a success to them because they set a very, very high goal. So be realistic with your goal. That's number one. But crowdfunding works. It's just, I'd rather sell people a product than have them like pay for it beforehand, like it's charity. But like, that's a personal gripe against crowdfunding. It works. It's awesome. And I don't have any recommendations except, like, don't go into it with no fan base unless you fully anticipate friends and family to represent most of the budget that you get. That's crowdfunding. As far as approaching guests for your podcast, get a number of episodes under your belt. I reached out to people I already knew, that I already respected in my town when I first started Creative Juice. And I interviewed them because I knew they'd be interesting. I knew that there were people who liked listening to them, and I knew that anyone I found would love listening to them, like Da Vinci and Alex Sarton and Nino, you know? And so start with your network. Once you have a few episodes out, just reach out to people, email them. People want to be on podcasts, man. People want to be put on a pedestal as experts. And when you have them on your podcast, that's what you're doing. Or you're basically saying, hey, want to talk about your life for an hour and what you think? Everybody wants to do that. It's in everyone's self-interest to do that. So I just don't be afraid. Reach out to a lot of people. If you have a 10% success rate, you're on the right track, man. Alex Miner stealing my subscribers. It's fine. Everybody go follow Alex Miner right now, because as soon as I saw his channel, I was like, oh my God, please come hang out with me. His channel's amazing. Everything he does is cool. And he's an amazing rapper as well, and an amazing producer. And he's just all around amazing. Go follow Alex Miner. Josh Moose. Yo, dude, you missed my question. No big deal. Wondering if you've ever noticed anything important I should or I shouldn't be doing to build my shit. That's a wide question, man. If I missed it, It's because it's the Grand Canyon of questions. If I noticed anything you should or shouldn't be doing to build your shit, come on, man. I'm looking for your original. I don't see it anywhere. I don't know, man. If punk covers aren't, I know you do a lot of awesome punk covers. I dig them. But if they're not providing a result for you, change it, right? Anything in your life, if it's not getting you to where you want to go, try something else. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Are you active in any punk or pop punk communities, especially nostalgic communities? Like, are you on Facebook in a group that's about like Blink-182 and Newfound Glory and shit? Because if not, that's where your brand fits, I imagine. And those people would love it. But if you're not reaching a lot of people who have nostalgia for that type of punk, then you're missing the mark. You're sinning. And you need to look for those communities. There have to be built-in communities about that kind of thing, right? There have to be people who miss the days, the glory days. And if you tap into those and you provide value in those groups or those subreddits or whatever they are, they're gonna dig your content. Your content's good. Your voice is good. You're good at instruments. There's no reason people shouldn't like it, except that it just might not be the right thing. And if that's the case, if after finding these types of communities, it doesn't pan out, try something different. I remember you had said recently that your fan base has been digging your content that features your family more than they usually dig your normal content. If that's true, pay attention to it and try things out on that basis. That's what I'd recommend, man. But your shit's good. Like, you should, like, I wouldn't change what you're doing. I would change where you're putting it for the time being. And if that doesn't work, change what you're doing to a degree. Also, I want to hear your original stuff because your voice is good and it seems like you get the genre pretty well. You should be sharing your originals more often because I don't see them. And I'm a peripheral fan. Colby Jeffers. Ah, man, no wonder my conversion rate on my recent pre-save. Oh, this just jumped for no reason. Colby Jeffers. Ah, man, no wonder my conversion rate on my recent pre-save campaign has been performing so poorly. That might be it. Shout outs, Sean O'Connell Media. Is that right? Okay, tight. Sean O'Connell?
Email?
That's your boss? Or that's you? That's my boss. That's his boss. Shout out Sean O'Connell. Okay. Corinne, saves be the rules ratio. Yep. TJ, talking to Alex. Got it. I'll just butt out of this conversation. Kaylee said, awesome. I just wrote all that down. Thanks. That's what I was looking for. No problem, Kaylee. I'm glad it was helpful. Blotter Inc. Love you, bro. What's up, Blotter? Colby Jeffers. Can you ask the homie behind you for some more guidance on the day of Spotify campaign? Any methods or platforms that work best? No, right?
What's the question?
He's asking if there's any methods or platforms that work best. How do you set it up? Does he use show.co? No on all that, right?
No. So for day of, I would just send out a link. I use SongLink, so song.link.com.
He uses song.link.
And then you can type in, so yeah, song.link.
On the day of, he just sends it out to his email list.
It's just a hyperlink. And then
Just a hyperlink.
Take your hyperlink, send it out, ask for people to save it. I mean, you gotta be aware not everybody has Spotify, and then one of these days Apple Music is gonna start showing numbers, and then everyone's gonna give a fuck. So like, push both of them, promote across the board. But like, yeah, if you're gonna take one time to try and grow an audience on one platform, I definitely recommend doing that. But like, for day of long
No one can hear you.
For day of campaigns, yeah, just send out your Spotify link and ask them to save it. If you want to run a contest, ask them to send you a screenshot for verification or something.
If you want to run a contest, use viper.io, which is, he didn't say that, but I'm saying that because
It's like $1,000.
it's not $1,000. It can be as low as $37 a month, and you just need it for the month you're running the campaigns. But that has a native API integration with Spotify. It doesn't, but it says it does. And to the user, it presents an experience that indicates that it might. And that's all you really need. All you need is for them to think that they won't win the contest unless they save it on Spotify. That's all you need. And Viper will do that. Further, you could just create something on your own website that makes it seem like that's the case. But you won't be able to collect entries as robustly as you would with Viper. So my recommendation is Viper. He's saying use song.link and send it to all your peeps, your email lists, plug it on socials. Try to push a combination of both Spotify and Apple Music, because right now Apple Music doesn't show numbers, but one day they'll catch on and do it, and then it'll be big and everyone will care. And that's the final word from this gentleman. Guy Ford says Indie Pro is ridiculously good value. Hey, Guy Ford is ridiculously good value. Don't you ever forget it, man. More followers is better than more likes. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. See, Corinne, I'm still confused because I don't know if it's more followers than more likes. Oh, yeah, you want more followers than likes, then you're probably doing everything right. If you have more likes than followers, then you bought bots and you scam artists. You black hat. So, every major label artist has more likes than followers, and that's because the industry is bullshit. Sorry for saying that, but it's true. Diamond47 asks, what is a good automation sequence for email subscribers? I have a list, but rarely send them anything. Need to set up some automation ASAP. No, you don't. If you rarely send things to your list, automation's not going to fix that. It's just going to run once, and then you're going to be back to your old habits of not saying anything to your fan base. So send every week. Pick a day and a time that you're going to sit down and write an email. I don't care if you have nothing to say. Think of it while you're writing it, okay? Doesn't matter what it is, because ultimately you want personal communication with your audience. It can be about something as mundane as your day, but it has to happen or else you'll never know. So don't do an automation sequence, man. Now, if you want your email list to be more engaged on average when they come into your email list, you can run an I-series, which we teach in our email marketing for musicians training. I-series stands for introduction series, and it tells people, where they're at and what they're going to get and when they're going to get it and where they can go to stay up to date. And then it delivers free value over multiple days. We're kind of fans of that concept, and that's great. That's great. And it'll make sure that when people come into your list, they're whitelisting you more, so they'll get your emails more. Your open and click rates will go up, and people will generally be more responsive. So an I-series is the automation tool that you want, but you don't want it to solve your problem of you're not emailing your list. You want to develop the habit of emailing your list. That's it. Tandem Circuit Mucky Man says, big picture, is there math to work out the value of organic on a social channel? Like, say 10,000 followers plus 5% engagement equals 500 engaged reach per post, say equals to 10 CPM, each post worth $5. No, here's a formula that will tell you the worth of organic reach. So first, it's a logic map, and you need to ask the question organic, right? So organic is the split in the logic map. And here's what the equation looks like. Okay, is that clear? Organic growth is not good. There's music marketing channels out there who are like, look, man, all you got to do is go into 12 hashtags per day and then leave 10 comments that mean something and you'll get a lot of fans. No, you won't. You're not going to become Lil Wayne just because you comment on people's Instagram posts. That's a myth. I know there's tons of people who have built a lot of great fans by being active, but the bulk of their success did not come from organic promotion. It came from some point of exposure that was way bigger than all the organic promotion they've ever done. Organic is not, if you're not paying to play in some way or another, right? You're on the outside, you're on the perimeter, right? And you're trying desperately to breach the wall. And it's not like you need a shit ton of money. You just need to start using any amount of money and put it to work for you. And this is for business. This is for musicianship. This is for YouTube. No matter what your passion that you're pursuing, if you're not investing in it, there's no way to get where you want to go. So, okay, back in the day when social media was a new thing, yes, Facebook pages could become very, very valuable. But we're not in those days anymore. Social media is a well-established concept, and social media platforms know how to monetize their users, and they do it pretty well. And you're not going to get by that, man. I think the math behind it is if you're not putting spend behind your messaging, then start. And you will see all the things you wanted. But if you're trying, your time is worth more than that. Even if you work at McDonald's for like $9 an hour, your time is still worth more than the time you're putting into organic social. We don't do organic social almost at all anymore. We syndicate our trailers for our YouTube videos. That's it. And even that, I'm starting to think like, I'm just not going to do that on Facebook anymore because no one cares. We get 0 likes. No one cares. So yeah, that's organic's just, it's trash. I'm stopping short because it's not absolute. There's some organic strategies that work, some organic things that have value, but like by and large, like why waste your time, man? You want to waste your whole life trying to figure out how to hack the organic strategy? You just throw some paid traffic behind it. Organic works for bloggers. That's it. Sorry, man. Podcasters and YouTubers as well can do organic, but if maybe you're not hip, or maybe you're not pretty and white, maybe you're not Casey Neistat. And if that's true, you're going to have a hard time getting the organic viral success that you want. And I know I just said a lot of incendiary things there, but that's how it is, man. That's what's up. Diamond47 says, what's the best way to build a fan base for a Spotify playlist? Incidentally, Facebook ads. And this guy knows a whole lot about that. But Facebook ads, not Facebook ads, Instagram story ads are ideal for building up a Spotify playlist. Not a Spotify artist account, mind you, but a Spotify playlist, especially if you can monetize it by selling placements, which is what the game is right now. There's a million people doing it. When you go to get a Spotify playlist campaign, you're just paying someone who built up a playlist with ads to put it on their playlist. They're not like, a lot of them do submit to other playlisters and they have a network, but some of them are just like, I built this playlist and I'm going to place you on it. And like, it's a lie. And it's a big racket right now, but you can build up Spotify playlists with IG ads and sell placements and be one of the thousands of people who now, for whom that's now a job, including this gentleman right here.
Not a lot of people are doing it right now, though. Most people are building.
He said not a lot of people are doing it right now, but you've told me about like 9 people in like 2 weeks.
Nobody's really leveraging Facebook ads.
Really?
For building playlists.
So, okay, what I just told you is actually top secret because the way the others are building their playlists is
they'll find like albums that come out.
They'll find albums that come out and playlist them and try to use the popularity of songs to build their playlists.
People will search for the album, but the playlist will come out.
Got you. Okay.
Like movies that come out, or like.
So if
If
you're using ads to build a fan base for your playlist, then you're like a ninja, and you're one of very few people doing it right now. So I just gave away the game. The game is to be sold, not to be told. Project Pat told me that when I was 12 years old, and I can't believe I just forgot it. Tandem Circuit says, thanks, man. My name's Tim. I'm currently finishing. Good to know, man. What's up, Tim? I'm currently finishing my first album, so that's great to know. A release campaign such as the ones you mentioned here and on IG sounds perfect. I'll look into it. Good shit, Tim. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much, and good to know your name. Under the Rug Music, clarifying our album is a rock climbing themed album. Our fan finder vids are climbing related. We figured climbing is getting popular. Free Solo just won a bunch of awards. We thought, hey, climbers would love to hear some music about them, but we thought you might have some insights on digging into that world on the ad level, or maybe by approaching brand partnerships with climbing gear. Climbing gear companies have a very limited audience, and so, yeah, they'd probably be willing to partner if you're bringing an audience to the table. But it's not an automatic win combining rock climbing with music. Like, I love videography, and videography is exploding right now because it's being democratized for the average person. So whereas only filmmakers with film degrees used to do it, now kids in their bedrooms with cameras on YouTube are doing it. And as a result, videography is exploding as a concept. Doesn't mean that if I make a videography themed album that it's going to do exceptionally well just because it's a trend right now. That said, if you're so passionate about rock climbing that like it's the thing you want to write music about, Then tap into existing communities. Find groups on Facebook. Find message boards online. Find the blogs of companies providing this gear and reach out to them, or figure out a way to the thing about penetrating communities is that you have to be active in them first, and you have to be providing value to the communities before they're ever going to be willing to see your stuff. And like, it's better if your first offering to them is something of value that's not just your music. So what I would do is I would make a kill list, like a spreadsheet of all the blogs, message boards, Facebook groups, subreddits you can find on rock climbing, and develop a schedule for posting in all of them. And then when the time is right, when you've built up a rapport, when you know the mods by name, run a contest. Reach out to the mods first about it to partner on it. They'll post it instead of you, which will have more weight, and it'll probably be beneficial. That's what I would do. But I wouldn't automatically assume that combining rock climbing with music is a layup. Mark Bosserman, live, baby. That's right. That's right. Sprint really has changed my workflow. Thanks again. Glad to hear it. Weird Clan? Weird Clan? Not sure. Tell me your real name. I would love to know it. Sprint really has changed my workflow. I'm glad. Did you read the book? Because it's amazing, dude. Sprints all day. Sell the Sprint. Dream Qatari, wow, are you going to have this for the replay? Yes. Morris Mills, what shall I do during post-release? It depends on how the release went, but I would try to chunk down content from the release to be distributed in new and novel ways. Try ad campaigns, try organic posting to your existing audience, unless it's not that big, and use it as a testing barometer to figure out what's working. You need a slant on your content that has potential. I would use $1-a-day advertising, to be honest with you. You can use $1-a-day boosts on IG and Facebook, and it's just $1-a-day. So like, it's not going to make you go viral, but it will show you, oh, this post did this well with $1-a-day for a week. This post did this. Oh, wait, this post is just blowing up with $1-a-day compared to the others. Let's put $100 behind that post or that piece of media. So it's a good way to test out many different pieces of content over time, find your MVPs, and then only run those. And that'll get you a lot of new fans. But that's just off the top of my head, knowing nothing about your career. And that might be the wrong advice depending on where you're at. And everything is context dependent. And I know that's not a sexy answer, but it's the damn truth. And I'm sorry for that. TJ. Whoa. Oh wait, no, we're almost done. Wow, guys. I'm almost getting through all the questions as our concurrent viewers are dropping off. What if I get to the last question and it's just one person in here waiting for the answer? Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't really have a plan for when to end this. I still got to build the rest of this computer, but I'm gonna try to get through all of these. TJ, thanks Circa and Alex Miner. I agree with all of it. I will keep the hustle up. Also, TubeBuddy is the ish when it comes to viewing tags on similar pages. What's up, TubeBuddy? I need to do a video on TubeBuddy, man. I totally forgot. Didn't I do? Is there a training on TubeBuddy in the Content Blitz blueprint? I think I did, but TubeBuddy's tight, dude. Holy shit! I can't imagine how much time I would waste if I didn't have TubeBuddy. Defam TV says, we took 4 years off to record music and rebrand. We still have a fan page active with 43,000 on Facebook and 8K on Twitter. 90K email list. Cold, have not emailed for 2 years. Any advice to reintroduce? Yes. So you need to run what's called a re-engagement campaign. And then an unsub series. These are automation campaigns in your email lists that try to re-engage fans. And if they don't re-engage, unsubscribe them. It's best to kick off that re-engagement campaign with a massive offer because they were interested at one point and now they're not. So if you offer them something of value, chances are it'll kick back on for them. Then upload that email list to your business manager in Facebook, business.facebook.com, go to audiences and upload that email list as a custom audience. Use it as your ad targeting for a month or 2 months and try to re-engage those people with a new offer and get them back into the fold. Also, spin off a lookalike audience. So create a lookalike audience based off of that custom audience and use them as your advertising base for the foreseeable future. Also create a lookalike audience off of your page likes. And then your ad mix, your media mix is going to help you determine who's right still, or like if anything shifted based on that hiatus. 4 years off is a while. And You need a way to get new listeners from cold. That's always true. So Fan Finder is great for that. You need a way to develop more email subscribers. So you need a bribe or a free offer. You need to install that. And some of these email subscribers you have or page likes you have, you're going to need to get them back on the list by getting them to re-opt in for a new offer. Just happens, right? So create that offer, advertise it to those people again who don't engage, who don't re-engage with your email list. When you run your re-engagement campaign, have a plan to email them at least once per week so that doesn't happen again. Ideally, you would have been sharing the journey of rebranding and recording music with them the whole time. Doesn't mean you can't start doing it now. Use that as content to make a plan to email them regularly. Run your re-engagement campaign. Upload your list to Facebook as an audience and start running ads on them. Run ads on a lookalike audience based on them and your page likes. Start to get them back into the funnel. You need something to generate listeners from strangers or a cold audience. You need something to turn those listeners into email or messenger or text subscribers. And you need offers, paid offers, that make the money, that make it okay for you to spend all that money on ads and then make some money. Those are my recommendations. Very broad brush, but you got a lot of opportunities and you're not starting from zero just because you took 4 years off. You got a lot of great data. Katie, I have a bit of a fan base. I don't have my infrastructure set up yet. I had some success, but need to learn how to maximize it. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, I'd run a fan finder, Katie. Run a fan finder. It'll just get your feet wet. Like it's not going to mean that you're on the Billboard charts tomorrow. It's not going to make you $1 million, but it will get you a new fresh blood fan base coming in. It's an asset you can use for years into the future. And it's going to give you some good experience for understanding, communicating with your audience through paid media. And you need that experience because you're going to start, after that, you're going to need to figure out a bribe to get them into your email list or messenger list. Roderick says, hey, Cirque, working with Jesse. He is the man. I don't have a question. Just wanted to say cheers. Hey, Jesse is the man. And cheers to you too, sir. Chef says, every time I listen to you speak, rather it's through videos or just podcasts, it always makes me throw my Xbox out the window and start working on music. FSC is a blessing for all of us. Dude, thank you so much, Chef Willie. We were literally talking the other day about how, I don't know if I bought a PS4. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it again. Just because I can't imagine spending that much time on something that doesn't yield a tangible real world result. I can't imagine it. And I just don't know if I'm ever going to play video games again. And it's weird for me because I used to play them a lot. But when real life's a video game, then it's hard to go back to video games. I'll say that. Built a Wix website and love it. Diamond D47 says. Got the pixel and everything on it and building my list. Only seeing pros, but hearing a lot of cons about the platform. What are your thoughts? The cons are, Diamond, when you start to offer products. Also, if you're not a design nut, and you don't want it to look a certain way, a Wix website will be great, but if you're very anal about your look, Wix does not provide a lot of functionality. Furthermore, you're probably not getting as many email subscribers as you could, or as many pixeled visitors as you could if you had a different platform. But if it's getting you a result, don't listen to anyone who's saying that it sucks, like me, who I hate Wix. Yeah, don't listen to anyone if it's getting you the result you want. If you're happy with it, dude, don't listen to me or anyone else. But when you have to offer a product, you'll hate it. I guarantee that. They said you need to host a live stream, Sean O'Connell. I know he's an amazing musician and he doesn't want to do what I do because he thinks I'm a chucklehead. He doesn't want to be a chucklehead like me. So he wants to remain like this dark, shrouded in mystery artist forever. And he never wants to talk to people. So he talks to me and then I'll tell you guys. Guy in the back sucks. That was him. Roderick said, Cirque, I've been an iPro member for 6+ months, but just now ran a fan finder with Jesse. Can you just pay a one-time fee and have iPro forever? No, but you can buy fan finder or you can buy album launch. I think you can buy Messenger. We have a few different trainings that you can buy standalone and they're yours forever. And that's it. But no, one-time fee and have the thing is, I see membership services offering, we're running a lifetime special. only $19.97. And I'm like, yo, this smells of sleaze. I'd rather pay you a monthly and you not tell me that you're fucking doing a cash grab. And I refuse to do a sleazy cash grab. So I don't think we're ever going to offer a lifetime plan. It's a digital product, man. I can't calculate for you what it's going to cost us in terms of resources in the next 2 years. But it's a digital product. So our overhead's pretty low. So we can keep the product pretty low. We literally need to pay our employees to make new trainings, run support, manage the group, and then hosting, and then all of the different platforms we use to make it run. And that's pretty low. But if I were to say like, oh, it's going to be this much for the next 2 years or 3 years or forever, I'd be lying. And if I'm lying, then I'm a liar. And I don't want to be that. And that's why it sketches me out. So, but you can buy standalone. And more trainings will come online as standalone trainings as time goes on. But what we like to do is give our Indie Pros first access to trainings. So we release trainings first in the Indie Pro member area. We refine them there. And then later on, once they're well worn, then we'll release them as standalone. But I like giving also the Indie Pros exclusivity on certain subjects. Colby, thank you for the insight. Thank you, sir, for attending. Will says, how can you double down on a promoted Instagram ad? Could you do something like tag 3 friends in this post and next week we'll randomly pick a winner and their friends to win some merch? No, you can't do that in the Instagram posts because Facebook and Instagram will penalize you for what is called engagement baiting. If you ask people to tag or ask people to comment or ask people to watch this or ask people to do that, you're engagement baiting. And it's generally a spammy, low quality thing to do. And Facebook knows that and it ruins the user experience. And so they'll make you pay more money for it. So yeah, that's, I'm reading what Corinne said. Yeah. One of our clients, Big Jaw, has 3 times the followers that more than likers. Crazy. But anyways, don't do that. But you can use Viper.io to run a contest. So if you want to run a contest, use Viper. Use Viper.io. We use it. We're using it to run our contest, which ends today. Guys, if you go rack up 1,000 points in our contest right now, you might win a $3,000 branding package. Just saying. It ends at 11:59. And then tomorrow I'm picking a winner and I'm going to film it. And if you just get to like I think it's the 1,050 point mark by then, you might win. You're in the winner's pool and the winner will be drawn at random from everyone who's within 1,000 points of the leader. So if the leader is at 2,500 and you're at 1,500, you might win. And I recommend that. But yeah, Viper.io is what you use to run contests. And in that platform, you can reward people or even make them do it for entry to tag 3 friends in a certain post, which is what we've done. If you go on our Instagram at Entrepreneur and you look at, I think it's the second most recent post or something like that, there's shitloads of tagged people in it because it's part of the contest. But don't do it in the post because they will penalize you for it. Josh says, thanks, dude. Glad you dig. I can send you my originals. Would like to talk one-on-one sometime. I would love it, Josh. Please do send your originals. I would love to bump them. King Sumo is a free alternative giveaway tool. Ever use it? I have not. If it's part of AppSumo, then it's probably okay. Like it's probably decent. But I have not. I like Viper because of, I did a whole video on it. You can check it out on our channel. Mucky Man says, LOL. I think it's time I just book a one-on-one with you. Katie, you're welcome to do that. The one-on-ones may be with me, or they may be, more likely will be with one of our agency specialists, just because I'm out of a lot of the campaign work. I'm not doing as much of it as I used to, and they're just a lot sharper than I am in terms of diagnosing issues, especially with the latest tech. But it might be with me, and I'd be happy to talk to you. Roderick says, so true. Don't know what you're referencing, Roderick, but if I said it and I wanted it to be true, then thank you. Josh says, I have friends that don't pay for anything but have huge followings and seem to do well organically. Why is that? Are they the exception? Anything as in ads? Yeah, they're the exception. Yes, 100%. Because there's millions of musicians and there's less than 100,000 musicians who are just really crushing it. And that is an anomaly. And that's typical of any system, right? Any system is going to have an uneven distribution curve. But with ads, you can be in the right end of that uneven distribution curve, even if you naturally fall out of it, which is why it's more surefire. Also, I would invite you to consider what they've done that was as big an exposure opportunity as a well-crafted advertisement. Like if Dukes was randomly on a TV show, it would be as good as his Lady of the Night fan finder, right? It's as much exposure. If he played, some random show that ended up being part of a viral video, that's another form of exposure, right? If he was in a video, if his song was in a video that went viral. So all these things, like random things pop off. If he was on a tour, if he got invited on a tour with someone who is relatively big, as much exposure as his main fan finder. There's all different types of ways to get exposure. Ads are just one of them. And some of them are more exclusive or exclusionary than others. Some of them cost money. How do you come up with your ad budget? Or do you just throw as much as you can at Facebook ads? With our ad budget, okay, so your ad budget is based on what you can do at first. And once you have enough money where it's like, I could do a lot, but what should I do? At that point, then it's smart to figure out what your cost per acquisition is. How much does it cost you to acquire a customer? That's the main math in marketing. What is your cost per acquisition? That is, what do you spend? Like, okay, let's say you can, with a fan finder campaign, you can get 1,000 listeners. Out of those 1,000 listeners, 50 of them will sign up for an email list. And out of those 50, 5 of them will buy something. And then one of those people will buy multiple things. Let's say the revenue that comes in for it. Okay, scratch that. Let's say that all that, getting the 1,000 listeners and then getting the 50 signups and then the 5 customers and the 1 repeat buyer. Let's say all that costs you $200 or $300. And let's say that those 5 people bought something that brought you $15 in value and the 1 extra person brought you a little bit more. So your cost per acquisition for each of those 5 customers was about $60 per and about $20 in value per customer, which means that you have a 0.333 return on your spending or return on investment. Your cost per acquisition is too high. You need to optimize your campaigns to get it down. And your value that you're getting or your ratio of subscriber to customer is not enough. So you need to optimize your campaigns to get more people to invest in your music. And you need to make more from each customer. And once you dial that in at very low budgets in the $300 to $1,000 range, safe play space in which to dial that in, then you spend as much as you possibly can without it breaking. Okay? When your cost per acquisition is lower than your average value of a customer, you want to spend as much as you possibly can without the cost per acquisition catching up. So to me, ad budgets are kind of a silly notion until you become a well-established company and you're looking at last month's revenue and setting your budget, or looking at last quarter's revenue and setting your budget, because you need to, because you're a corporation. But until then, it's about spending as little on ads as you can until your average customer value is lower than your cost per acquisition. Spend as little as you can figuring out what marketing mix gets you there. And then spend as much as you can without that disappearing. That's how fortunes are built online. It's that math. Ryan Dice said, most businesses fail because they're unable to get their cost per acquisition lower than their average customer value. It's absolutely true. It's the only reason why businesses fail. And that's the math behind figuring out your ad budget. Your ad budget should be as low as it possibly can be until you figure out something that works. And once it works, it should be as much as you can possibly spend, because you're bringing in more money than you're putting out. And so ad budgets, it's hard for me to say what's a good ad budget. But if you're just starting out, like $100 to $150 a month would be ideal for you to start figuring out how it all works. And once you get good at that, then you're looking for that ideal marketing mix that brings you customers for less costs than they bring in terms of revenue. That's how all businesses are built. Katie, I'm glad you liked my pretty and white joke. Mucky Man, like you say about streams, organic grows anyway with the ads, but you don't factor in that reach as a value like you do email signups. Too small to bother to factor in. Yeah, I mean, okay. Let's say that for the past 5 days, I've gone out to the street out here and I've asked everyone I see for $1. And at the end of the day, I've had an average of $50 pretty reliably. One day I get $70. Is my average daily intake begging on the streets now $70? No, that's an anomaly. So anything I get extra from my baseline, I'm not going to consider it in my expectations. So that's why organic growth, it's in sputters and spurts as you run successful ads. Can't really rely on it. It could disappear tomorrow with an algorithm change, but the ads stay the same. That's why. When you like a Facebook page, is the follow automatic? I believe it is, yes. Dude, who would want to miss out on this? I'm glad you like it, Amanda. $1 a day for each Instagram post, or switch that dollar to the newest IG post. Switch it and try to do like a static amount per post. So like if you post every 2 days, then do $2 per post until something sticks. Or do like a delayed thing where it's like, I'm going to do $7 for 7 days on each post, period. And sometimes I'll be running like 4 ads at once, and that's fine. I'm going to spend like $1 a day on each post for 7 days for every post, because that's going to give you enough data to determine, is this a good post? What's your best advice for borrowed credibility, making yourself look bigger than you are? Don't do it, dude. Never do it. I don't do it. I don't want to do it. I want to show and prove. I want to show up and work my fucking ass off until people can't deny the credibility. Don't borrow credibility, man. Fuck that, dude. That's bad. That's what's wrong with this industry, is borrowing credibility, making yourself look bigger than you are, embellishing the truth. Dude, fuck that. That's what the House Slytherin does. You're not a Slytherin, are you? Come on, man. Fight for the good guys. I would not run an ad campaign about the fact that I got played on the radio, because nobody cares. No one cares. Try to take that approach to your marketing. What are you going to say to someone who says, who gives a shit? Nothing, because it's hilarious and they could just say it. So your marketing has to be better than that. And don't borrow credibility, and no one likes a braggart, right? No, like no one likes BBC Radio enough to give you brownie points for having been on it. Nobody's that much of a fan of BBC Radio. You want them to be a fan of you. Don't borrow fans from BBC Radio, man. And I don't mean to sound aggressive. It's just that, like, this is what's wrong with the music industry, is that the incentive is to just fake the funk, right? Fake it till you make it. That's bullshit. Make it and don't ever fake it. That's what I would recommend, man. How many Facebook page likes do people normally get from a fan finder? Don't know, don't care. Sorry. It's inconsequential, because page likes are inconsequential. Nino Bless went from 6,000 to 31,000 Facebook likes across a year and a half, spending about $20,000 on paid traffic, probably around that. Made more money back in, but that's how he grew. Now Dukes went from like 1,000 likes to like 6,000, running $1,000 in traffic. It's not consistent, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about your Facebook page like count, and soon no one's gonna care, because they're gonna delete it. They're not gonna have likes and followers in the future if Facebook's current initiatives are successful. Don't worry about likes. Nobody cares. If your content's good, nobody cares. When I see a channel that's got dope content, I don't care how many followers they have. I don't even look. And some people look, but fuck those people. That's how I feel about it. Haldi, I'm sorry. Haldi, install your pixel across your website in the site-wide header. If you've got Squarespace, this is going to be in your settings. Same with Bandzoogle. If you've got WordPress, this is going to be in your editor. If you've got ClickFunnels, this is going to be in your funnel settings. But you need to, whatever your platform is, just search that platform header code. and it'll tell you how to install a tracking code in your header, and that will track the use of your website. And I hope that helps. Mario says, hey, Circa, know anything about DistroKid's Hyperfollow feature? Yes, used it. It's as good as any other feature that's comparable to it. It's not like anything to write home about. It didn't get us a whole lot of great results. And just like everything Spotify, I don't know what it did. I can't see. I'm blinded because Spotify's data reporting is awful. So I don't know. But we ran it and it seemed to do something. But Duke's Spotify numbers were already pretty good. So I don't know. And I don't care. I wouldn't run it. I wouldn't spend money on it. But I don't know. I don't know why I'd use it. It's not reliable. It's buggy, like you don't always get emails back from it. And some people reports like they tried to click it and then it like screwed up. So I don't know, man. It sucks. Just like all things Spotify, it kind of sucks a little bit. And maybe it's worth it, but I have no way of knowing because the data is so shitty. It's hard to say, man. I'm sorry that that's not helpful. I really am. I wish that DistroKid's Hyperfollow had like clear metrics and I could test it and I could tell you all about how it works, but it's a black box. They somehow use Spotify's API to get email addresses out of Spotify. That's tight. These email addresses are not very good data quality. We didn't get any sales from these email addresses. I'm not sure. It's also a lot of friction. Like, we can build landing pages that 60% of the visitors that go to them sign up, which is crazy opt-in rate. The opt-in rate on Hyperfollows is awful. That's all I know about it. I'm sorry, man. It is very hard to know what's going on with those types of things because the data is just awful. DeFam, thanks very much. I already uploaded the email list to FB Custom Audience, plus we'll do lookalike audiences. We'll get Fan Finder. I documented the entire journey, and we'll use this to re-engage. I'm glad to hear that, because 4 years of, like, rebuilding, I would be so pissed if I came back to it and it was like, I need content? Fuck! I would be pissed, man. So I'm glad you got all that stuff, and that's going to be great. You're going to build some awesome marketing with that content. So great job, man. Josh, I want to win that branding package. I hope you do, Josh. I really do. Cause you've got cool branding already, but definitely something to spice it up a little bit. Cause you've got a brand going on, like your outfit, your costume, really, your uniform. It's all branding. And I think you're pretty well branded already. If a channel is shadow banned on YouTube because it has edgy content that's not advertiser friendly, does that impact any Facebook ads, etc. that I buy? No. Facebook and YouTube don't communicate about shadow banning. As far as I know, I would be very surprised. They're competitors, direct competitors. Now that we have Facebook Watch, I spent hundreds and my views were unchanged. Facebook ads to YouTube don't work, period. Like that's why, not because they share data about shadow banning. It's because Facebook ads to YouTube don't work. Ads to grow your YouTube channel don't really work very well. I've tried a lot of them. They kind of work if you've got the right. If you make a video that is probably a lead magnet, like a bribe to get permission, so to build email subscribers. Like if you go look at our album launch video, it's a cool video, but it's also to get email subscribers and give people our album launch workbook to show them, hey, we're kind of legit, right? We just want people to see the workbook and go through it to know, oh, these guys aren't fucking scam artists and I can trust them. And once they're there, then we can have a conversation about what we offer, right? And if you have a video like that, running ads on it with YouTube can be advantageous, but it's going to get you leads, not subscribers. The best thing to grow your subscribers is contests and collaborations. Syndicating your content into bite-sized snippets on social media can be helpful. It helps, but it's not amazing. It's not nothing to write home about. Contests and collaborations. Seems like I need to do another fan finder. Well, if you're not running fan finders all the time, I don't know what you're doing, man. Do it. A friend of mine, what the hell? A friend of mine has a channel called Scott2 Network that seemed to have blown up after a vid went viral. That's who I was thinking of when I posted my last. Yeah, it went viral, right? Like, can't control that. It went viral. And if you try to make viral videos for a long time and you're decent at like making videos and you study what other viral videos are like and you try, you might get it. I'm not here to say you won't. It's just not a way I like to operate. It's not very certain. It's not something I can tell a client, oh, we're just going to try really hard at this for 2 years and maybe something will happen, but also maybe not. Can I have money now? That doesn't help. Okay. So someone with this Trump image for their channel header. Okay. I'm going to put this user in timeout. Obama must be punished, he said. Yeesh. Circa is a Hufflepuff. Dude, you're a Hufflepuff. Quit stealing my subscribers. Everybody, if you're subscribed to Alex Miner, unsubscribe right now. Just kidding. But go subscribe to Alex Miner right now. When you say see which post is better in IG, what criteria / numbers are you looking at? Cost per through play, cost per view, and engagement rate. That's it. That's all you need to know, because all the other metrics will come if those two things are true. Haldy. So if likes don't matter on Facebook pages, how do you know if you got a fan from Fan Finder? I.e., when do you consider someone a fan? When they watch 95% or 75% of your video, I know that they might be a fan. They're a listener. They're willing to listen to the content. They watch so much that anyone who didn't like it is already gone. So we know they liked it. And that's the value. They're not really a fan until you've had multiple touches with them. So ideally, get them in a messenger or email. Then they're a fan. But like, just because someone likes you on your, dude, my mom likes my Facebook page. She's my biggest fan, but she's not like my fan. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends from high school. Like, I don't talk to them anymore. And they like my page because, like, way back when I didn't know anything, I was like, hey, everybody, I'm trying to build up my page. And they liked it because they didn't want to see me cry. But they're not my fan. And Facebook likes do not equate to fans. Katie Thompson, is this still live? Amazing. Make it and document the journey and use that to generate. Yep, 100%. Just started my first fan finder, waiting for the first 24 hours to be up. What's up, Katie Thompson? Glad to hear it. I cannot wait. Morris Mills, I enjoyed you brother. You on point. How do I become a client? Morris, you can check out our website, entrepreneur.io, if you'd like. There's a bunch of products and training on there, depending on what you need. So I wouldn't just jump right in. Just make sure it's what you need. You can also just consume our free content for a little while just to get a feel of everything. And then you can use that to inform whether or not you should become a client, which is kind of what it's there for. It's there to show you what we do and teach you it. And then when you come into any of our paid products or trainings or services, you're already well informed and you already know why you're there and you're already ready to set up what you want to set up and you're wasting no money. That's what I recommend. Will says, is it better to practice new skills and be a jack of all trades or to double down on what you're good at and delegate? As in it's good to do both. I'm doing both. I have to delegate so that I can focus on shit I don't know anything about, like videography. I'm learning videography every day right now, and I had to delegate major portions of my job and hire people just so that I could do it. So I'm actually freeing up my time not to double down on what I know really well, but so that I can learn shit I have no idea what I'm doing in. And I love it. It's not right for everybody because I'm a bit of a nutcase, as you might have already figured out. But I love it. Delegate first, though. That's my mistake. Kaylee says, I'm sure it's just practice. I did FB Lives for a year and got so good and comfortable at it. You just have to start. Study vids of people you admire. Like, well, thank you very much, Kaylee. One thing I've noticed is dead air. I don't leave a lot of dead air, you might have noticed. I don't leave a lot of gaps. That's why my voice is tired right now. Tribe, Chief Tony, what's the best way to market music videos? A, either hire someone who's already famous to make your music video. B, get your video on World Star Hip Hop or, MTV, which is damn near impossible or costly. One of those two. Or C, run a fan finder campaign like we do. Or make an innovative music video that breaks ground on a concept. Those are your 4 options. My favorite is run a fan finder because anyone can do it and it's not based on luck. If you had a budget of $2,000, would you split the budget 4 ways? 500 FB, 500 Insta, 500 Snapchat, etc. Or would you focus more on one advert platform than the other? If I only have $2,000, no Snapchat, because Snapchat's a newer ad platform. There's not enough settled science on it. I would then throw all $2,000 into Facebook ads, but Facebook ads is also Instagram ads, and Facebook's the most intelligent machine learning algorithm that you have access to. So if you throw 2,000 in it and you say Facebook or Insta, whatever one, just find out which one's best. It will, and then it'll determine that for you. Mario says, Mario again, following up on the Hyperfollow feature. Thanks for the feedback. I want to run a Facebook ad offering free t-shirts in a competition for Spotify follows. Is that a valid idea? Cheers. It is for your fans, but if it's for people who don't know who you are, they don't care about your t-shirt. They're not going to sign up. Nobody wants a shirt that bad. I have tons of shirts. I don't want your shirt. That's what you're going to hear. So I would pick something that people who are likely to enjoy your music would want. My idea right now is take all the artists you sound like, or constantly people are like, oh, you're like this artist. Get their music and merchandise. Offer it to their fans for free in return for this contest. To enter the contest, they have to follow you on Spotify. I would not have them follow you. I would have them save your stuff on Spotify. Follow you?
Yeah, 100%.
I thought follows suck.
No, follows are huge.
He's going to do the
Follows
next one.
I wouldn't say.
Are you sure? That's not what the Spotify lady told
Every
us.
time saves are valuable for a single, but every time you get a follower, every time thereafter that you release, they get your song in their release radar, so it starts doing the work for you, and that's the whole game of anything. I feel like.
Okay.
And it helps for Discover Weekly, etc.
I guess followers can matter.
It's just harder to build followers.
Harder to build followers. Okay.
And it's not as valuable for like a single song, but longevity.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you want to build follows for long term. If you're trying to push a certain song, saves are more valuable than followers. So if you want algorithmic performance of a single release,
Which is like algorithmic is the only reason to use Spotify.
the only reason is to use Spotify anyways. So yeah, saves matter in the context of a singles release is what Drex is saying. And then if you get algorithmic performance from those saves, then you're going to get tons of follows and saves as a result and streams. Snowball effect, right? So use other artist content to use other artists' music and merchandise as the giveaway in a contest. The prize is the targeting. Remember that for contests. The prize is the targeting. You target your ideal respondent or contestant with what the prize is. Like, we want to talk to more artists, so we're giving away a $3,000 artist branding package. We're targeting the contestants we want with the prize. That's what you should do with your contest. Most of us are Hufflepuff. That's true. Second step, like what to do after. Haha. You need a bribe, man. You need to install a permission offer, Josh. How do I use FanFinder? Go through the training? I teach music theory and want to start putting videos out, but would that audience necessarily care about my music? And if not, how do you convert them? No, they won't. Yeah, so what Alex said is valid, but generally, like, in fact, our agency lead, Jack, asked me this question like 2 years ago when he was just a baby little boy. And he called me. I was walking into Will's Pub in Orlando for a Eugene gig, and he called me and he said, I was thinking about doing this e-com with shirts and then introducing that audience to my music. And I told him, like, I'm going to tell you, the only way to market your music is to market your music. That you cannot build a pottery company and then slip your music in the back door. It's not going to work. And you're going to spend a whole lot of time doing something that has nothing to do with your music. That's fine if you're committed to doing that, but don't think it's going to result in a bunch of music fans. It's just not. Because people get into pottery for pottery, not for pottery music. And that's my answer. Guys, my voice is tired. I have a computer to build and a wife to take care of who is very sick. So I got to get out of here. This has been way more awesome than I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be like 3 people in here. If any of you guys are in Indie Pro, show up to Indies Live, because this is what Indies Live should be like. And I love all you guys. It's been a blast. I haven't talked this much in a while. My voice is going to be shit tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome. Let's hang out again very soon. Get your questions ready, save them up, and I'll do this again very soon. Thank you guys so much. Big shout outs to the homie Lil Nas X, who's doing great with his single Old Town Road. He's killing it. And shout outs to all of you guys. And I'll see you in the next Full Stack Creative Live. And hey, don't be afraid of doing something new. That's my recommendation.